I'm Jerry, this is Jim, we're the owners at THEBCO. Today we wanted to talk with you a little bit about the different window and installation options available to you as a homeowner. So the current house we're in was built approximately 25 years ago. These are twin casement windows that we'll be replacing, and that was pretty standard during this time period. Jim, what are the different options available for installation?
So the two options that we offer at THEBCO would be that we would do an insert window, and what I mean by that is we would remove the windows but leave the exterior frame in place. We would bring the window inside and utilize some of the trim of your home. And then the second option would be if we did a full frame replacement. That means we're going to go down to the rough opening, basically the studs on the window. We're going to take all the trim on the inside of the home off, and then we're going to place the window inside and then finish the trim.
Are there any advantages, moreover disadvantages, to an insert style install versus a full frame installation?
Yes, one of the reasons a consumer would choose, to go to the insert is it's a lot cheaper.
Okay.
And then second would be that it's easier to install. But moreover, on the disadvantage side, one of the biggest things you're going to give up as a homeowner is the loss of glass.
Oh,
as you can see, that frame
isn't that the most important part of a window?
Absolutely. You want to be able to look outside at your beautiful backyard.
Exactly. So with a full frame installation, which is typically in a installation like this, what we would recommend at THEBCO, what are the advantages?
So the advantages of a full frame install is that we're going to be able to go down to that rough opening. Okay. We're going to be able to see actually the studs in your wall, and we're going to be all the way down there. We're going to take your trim out, and if there are any problems there, we're going to fix and replace and repair them at that time before we do the install.
You know what would be really cool? Let's actually show the customer what the different installations look like. It's easy for you and me to talk about it, but I think it would be important for the customer to see. We'll get the installers in here, show you what the insert is going to look like versus the full frame.
Jerry, now that we have the installation of the insert window completed, I just want to take a minute and go over it with you, and if you don't mind just pointing out a couple things that you see different.
Sure.
The regular window we just got done pulling out.
I mean, I don't know about you, Jim, but the first thing I notice is the contrast in color. So I've got this white window here now and the old kind of dated looking golden oak trim.
True. That'll stay with the window no matter what you do when you have an insert window. No matter the color of the trim, it's got to remain
Gotcha.
The insert window.
Gotcha.
So in saying that, is there anything else that really jumps out at you?
Well, the biggest thing that jumps out at me is look at the frame size on this window. I mean, I have to believe there is less glass in here, certainly than what was there before, and what I would expect with a recommended full frame install from THEBCO.
Exactly. So just to prove our point, why don't we put a tape measure to it, and then when we come back after putting the full frame in, we can do a quick comparison.
Sounds good.
So you roughly have 46 inches wide by 35 inches tall.
So I'm curious too, Jim, with this sliding window, while it does kind of look like the double casement window, is this going to be even close to as efficient as a casement window?
It will not.
Okay.
It does not seal. When you go to a casement window, you're using a bulb seal that seals permanently. I always tell everybody, when you lock that latch down, that positively locks the window down.
Sure.
This way you have two meeting rails coming together, so you don't have a complete seal.
So like when the wind blows, it could literally kind of seep through these windows.
It could, yes.
And then I'm curious, I mean, when they install like this, are they able to address and see what could be going on with water issues?
Great question. We are not. We have to basically deal with the taking out the frame of the window. Remember, we're keeping that solid frame on the outside, so we're not able to get down to that rough opening and address any issues that you would normally see.
Gotcha. Well, let's get to a full frame install and show our homeowners what that's going to look like.
Okay, now that we have started the installation of the full frame, Jerry, we wanted to give the consumer a quick shot of the full frame where we have totally removed the old trim. We've gone down to the rough opening.
I see that.
And we have it now at that point that we like to talk about our custom trim boxes that we make. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the first things you'll see when we get down to the rough opening is you're able to address if there are any water issues currently occurring with the opening. We did see a little down here that we were able to address. The second thing you would probably notice is we're able to fully insulate around that opening. So not only have we put a more efficient window in with a casement, we've addressed any possible air infiltration that could come in between the window frame and the studs. The reason we wanted to show you the window like this is, as you saw before with the insert window, there was a window up against a white window up against a brown trim and jam. In this instance, the customer chose to go white on white to go with a different look. Jim, are there other options if a customer wanted to keep that wood grain?
Absolutely. We have different options like a golden oak, a provincial oak. We can do a dark, a really super dark stain like a walnut.
Sure.
We can even do a colonial cherry as well as a Brazilian pecan stain.
Okay, so if that customer wants to keep that wood look, that is an option for them. So the window itself, is that going to be wood or?
No, the window itself will be the vinyl.
Okay.
And then when we put the wood trim box in there, we basically set the trim box up against the vinyl.
Sure.
And then the final stage that we'll see in the next segment is where we finish the trim box to the actual window itself.
Okay, so that vinyl window with a wood finish, the window itself has a wood.
It has a wood grain on it. So like if we did a golden oak, it would have an oak wood grain to it.
I understand. And the advantage being that where it matters, where it's exposed to elements, there is not wood there. And to get that finished look, you have wood on the interior.
Exactly.
Well, we have an opportunity to show what that wood might look like. If you can see, this is what we call a trim box. So this is completed in the factory with a factory finish. It's 360. I don't know if you're able to see that, meaning the finish goes on the interior as well as the exterior. The advantage to that is if this wood that could potentially be exposed to any water or moisture, with that finish on it, it is going to protect that. The other thing you might notice is how nice the mitered cuts are in the finish. Again, we like to call it a furniture grade finish. One of the other advantages that we could talk about, so Jim, when we set this, how is it going to look up against the wall?
So when our measure techs come out to measure, we measure for paint lines. So when I mean paint lines, you can see where the transition from the painted wall to the regular drywall is. So we try to measure that so that we fully cover that, so there's no painting involved for the consumer.
Okay. So the hope is, and the plan for the customer, that THEBCO experience is that they don't have to come in and touch up paint, or with that insert option, paint all their trim and jam.
Correct.
The project is completed after we do the install.
Exactly. We can show you a really quick example of just showing you how it would cover the trim.
Oh, sure. That looks great.
With that said,
well, let's get the guys in here and get this finished.
Let's do it. Okay, we have now completed the full frame installation. So Jerry, if you don't mind telling me, what are your observations of the window?
So I mean, Jim, the first thing that I notice is the finish. So I mean, it looks amazing. The way that the white transitions from the window into the trim, as you had discussed before, I don't see any exposed paint. The second thing I notice is how narrow these frames are and the amount of light that is actually coming in through the window. I'm curious, if we put a tape measure on here, what the difference is compared to what that insert window was.
So I'm at a little over 50 inches in width and about 42 inches in height.
Okay, so compared to that insert window,
we've gained about 3 inches in height and 4 inches in width.
wow.
Totally all the way around.
And I know we had put a tape measure on the original window that we replaced, and we had the same amount of glass with this new window.
Correct. You'd actually, if you want to be technical about it, we gained an inch in height
Okay,
from your original windows
Sure.
in this home.
amazing. It looks fantastic. So we hope you enjoyed the video. We just wanted to show you what the THEBCO replacement experience is all about.